organizing this wonderful event. It feels great to be at Pune. It's my first visit to Pune, and Pune has been extremely very kind to me. Such a warm welcome, such nice people. It feels incredible to be here, and so much enthusiasm. And the campus, believe me, I come from Delhi University, and Delhi University is nothing compared to this campus. It's absolutely now you know the most difficult part is that Jasmeet sir and Athar sir have been so exhaustive in their own way that I've hardly left anything to say, and it becomes quite difficult. Both of them are such excellent speakers. I think listening to both of them, one thing I guess we all have learned here, like what Jasmeet sir said, you have to be very humble, which is very true, because as you prepare for this examination, at every stage, you'll meet people, you'll find someone, and your experiences will keep on growing. You'll learn new things every day, and often you'll feel this thing that probably you never knew things which you were supposed to, or you know, अच्छा ऐसा कुछ है मुझे तो idea ही नहीं था. So to grow as an individual, apart from growing your knowledge base, what Sir correctly pointed out, being humble and being ready to learn. That's, I think, a very important point which each of us has to remember, not only for this exam per se, but for us as individuals, for growing as individuals. I think each one of us has a story to share. Each one of us has something to give to others, and each one of us has something to learn from others. So that is one thing which is very important. Then we come to what Athar sir said, that this examination, it has this hype attached to it, and we all understand that, oh, IAS, and you get this prestige, you get this authority, power, and there's so much hype. And often, of course, we being normal people, we get attracted to all of this. We get attracted to this whole experience. Acha, if I become the district collector one day, kya rutba hoga? And ye cheeze, these attract us. Well, this is fine and good, and it will keep you motivated for some time. But after a while, like both sirs here pointed out, it's a very long journey, and it's a very grueling journey as well. And after a while, these things do not motivate you at all. Every day when you have to wake up in the morning and think that, okay, I have to study so much today, I have to learn so much today, how will I stay motivated? These things after a while won't motivate you. What really will motivate you is what you actually feel about life in general, what you feel about society in general, what you feel about the country in general. And if we all read newspapers, and every day something gets reported, some misfortunate event gets reported, some corruption scandal gets reported, or we just look at the general state of the country, that the country is probably not doing as well as probably we wanted to. How many of us actually feel that, okay, we are all there to be very big critics, arey aisa hona chahiye, arey waisa hona chahiye. But how many of us actually feel that I want to do something, that I want to be the change that I'm talking about. I want to be the change. And I want to bring about that change. How many of us actually feel that way when we read the newspapers? Well, that's a very good number. And if we do feel that compassion, if we do feel that sensitivity, it's only then that every day when we wake up, even when, oh, itna padhna hai, but if we have that vision, that is what keeps you going. And that is what is very important. Sir gave a very inspiring example. When I was in Hyderabad recently, I met a colleague of mine who got selected with us, and she's getting Indian Foreign Service, and her story really touched my heart. And it actually made me feel how privileged I have been. I've had such good parental support, I've had such good opportunities. So this lady got married really early, and her own family as well as her husband's family was not very supportive of her giving this examination. And each time, so we okay, even if the world is against you, but if you have family support, still you can move mountains. But this lady here, this young lady here, did not have either her own family support or her husband's family support. and they constantly kept discouraging her कि नहीं करना है, तुम ये नहीं कर सकती और तुम्हें करना ही नहीं है. But she had this vision that no, I want to be a civil servant and I really want to work for my country. And this was her 4th attempt and she finally cleared it. So just remember, each attempt when she failed, कितना सुनना पड़ता होगा, and we have those रिश्तेदार who keep coming and saying, ये क्या है? And what was the worst thing? Her husband started living away from her, and they are probably about to get a divorce now. But absolutely without any support, with so much discouragement, with so much demotivation, she kept herself going. That no, I still want to be a civil servant, and I will do what it takes to clear this examination. And in her 4th attempt, finally she has got Indian Foreign Services. So that is the amount of conviction, of inner strength. She has nerves of steel. That is the amount of conviction people have. And I think that's an inspiring story for all of us. And it also at the same time makes us realize how really, really, really privileged we all are. We are here sitting where we can interact with toppers, we can feel motivated. We have parents back home who keep on pushing us that no, do this, no, do that. We have all the wonderful educational opportunities to grow and develop as much as we can. And that just makes us realize that how really privileged we all are. Now, like what I said, if it's only the hype which attracts us, it will not stay forever. It won't. We really need to feel that amount of compassion that I really want to take my country forward. I really want to do something meaningful. But at the same time, like what both sirs here emphasized, it's not always possible that all of us are successful. But if we have that vision, if we have that dream that no, I just want to do my bit for society, then even if civil services nahi hua, even if we don't crack civil services, there are many other ways that we can still make a difference. And that's what we actually have to be always bothered about making it. Right? So this is something which keeps you going. Now, I'll move on to the other part of what I would like to say. I'll try to speak as a student. Since there are many aspirants sitting here, and I totally get that every second or third day, we don't feel good. We don't feel good at all. We feel very depressed. We feel that probably we can't clear this exam. Probably this exam is beyond our capability. Probably we find others who are more intelligent or others who are more capable, and we just feel that it's very difficult and I can't do it. We feel that, oh, I have probably left my higher studies and I'm doing this, or I've left my job and I'm doing this. And we feel very demotivated, and trust me, it happens. It happens to everyone over here who's been successful in this exam. It happens every second or third day. It does. And I know it's heartbreaking, and I know it's very depressing. But always remember that this is very natural, since this exam is enormous. There's a lot of competition. So always keep in mind that this is a very natural thing, very normal thing, and I'm not insane if I'm feeling all of this. Each one of us goes through it. So whenever you feel this way, whenever you don't feel good about yourself, whenever those blue days, talk to whoever is most near and dear to you, and they will remind you why you deserve to be selected. They will remind you of all the sacrifices you personally are making to sit for this exam. Because I believe each one of us has a story here. Each one of has some thought process and some sacrifice that each one of us made to come here. So whenever those demotivating days when you don't feel good, talk to whoever is near and dear to you, and they will remind you why you're here. Apart from that, if we come to the strategy part of the exam, it's a competitive exam, and the fight is for one mark, and therefore the strategy has to be a very smart strategy. You do not only study, you study smartly, which means each one of us knows our own strengths, our own weaknesses. So we should always identify what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. So of course, we should improve our weaknesses, to a standard that, okay, we've improved it to a decent level. But what I always try to emphasize is that we should never ignore our strengths, that they become our weaknesses. So each one of us has a scoring point, and we should always remember that. Jaspreet sir was very, very exhaustive in how the examination has to be attempted, and I think my strategy was very, very similar to his. So do forgive any repetition. Prelims, mains and interview, I think over the past couple of years, they are very, very current affairs based. Extremely current affairs based. And I believe nearly 60% of the questions comes from current affairs. So if the chunk is so large, why are we so afraid of reading the newspaper? Because this is the most frequently asked question to me, that ma'am, newspaper reading takes such a long time, what should I do to cut it down? You really don't need to cut it down because most questions will be asked from it. So to us, newspapers has to be there. And newspapers is, why are we required to read it? Because if you are not aware of what's happening around you, if you are not sensitive to what's happening around you, what's the point of joining the service? So, as sir said, rightly so, it's extremely important that we are very well versed with current affairs. And most questions will be from there. Now what Jasmeet sir pointed out, that don't think that prelims mein alag books padhni hai, mains mein then we have to read something different, not at all. The whole process of the examination is somehow interconnected. And prelims actually will make your base for mains. So it has to be done in a very interlinked approach. And nearly like what he said, the same books, read one book but read it well. And I personally believe that before prelims, at least every book has to be revised thrice. So read one book but do it very well. If we come to mains, I think the whole point of mains rests on answer writing. And answer writing can only be improved with constant practice. So I'll share my own example. When I first started attempting a mains test paper after prelims, I had to write 20 questions, 200 words each in 3 hours. And I could not. I could just write 14. And I also remember the day when it was my ethics paper, and the paper was very difficult, very lengthy. I think both of them would agree that it was extremely lengthy. And fortunately, I was the only one at my center who could complete the paper. Nearly everybody was crying that paper chhut gaya, ye ho gaya. So how did I traverse the whole bridge from not even completing the paper to completing the most lengthiest paper? By practice. So a lot of practice has to be put in answer writing, not only to write good answers, how to write answers, but how to manage your time. So time management is as important as writing good answers. If you can't manage time, then okay, you might have wonderful writing skills, but you will not be able to complete the paper. So time management, scheduling, making your own timetables, monitoring your progress, evaluating yourself, all of this is equally important as just opening the books and studying and memorizing. So this is one thing which has to be kept in mind. Now if you come to the interview phase, like Jasmeet sir correctly pointed out, interview is not a test of knowledge. It is a test of personality. And if there are already aspirants sitting here, they must be experiencing it right from now. That you must be seeing a change in yourself. Suddenly, with so much knowledge that you're acquiring, with the newspaper reading you're doing, suddenly you must think you're becoming responsible citizens. You're thinking about issues. You're having opinions. You're suddenly evaluating, oh, this is a good thing the government is doing, or oh, this is a wrong thing the government is doing. Suddenly we are having opinions on things, and we are becoming responsible citizens. And that's the beauty of this exam. It not only increases your knowledge base, it transforms you as an individual. It makes you someone who's more responsible, who's more compassionate, who's more sensitive, and of course who's more humble. So when you prepare for this examination, not only try to increase your knowledge base, but at the same time develop and cultivate yourself as an individual. Cultivate yourself into a leader who is capable of taking every section of society together, hand in hand, and moving towards progress. Become that person who's compassionate, who feels for others, who feels the pain. Become somebody who can set an example for others. Become somebody who can easily communicate, who can be a very good communicator, can speak from his heart. So not only take it as an opportunity to become somebody who's very learned or very intelligent, Also take it as an opportunity to develop yourself as a person. Because the personality test, that's what they're looking for. What are they looking for? They're looking for people who are very positive, who want to bring a change in this country, who are very humble, like what Sir pointed out, who are very compassionate, and what others have pointed out, who have a vision. That's what they're looking for. So at the same time, cultivate and develop yourself as a person, as an individual, as a responsible citizen. So, like what I said, this is one hell of a journey. It just completely, it's a roller coaster ride. It transforms you, it develops your knowledge base, you meet so many people, you learn new things. So it's one hell of a ride. But trust me, if we have that hard work, if we have that dedication and sincerity, and most of all, what do we need? We need patience. Patience ही तो चाहिए 2 साल निकालने के लिए. To sit through the exam, to study for it. If we have that patience to sincerely still follow the routine, still study so much, still think about life in general. If we have that patience, then seriously, this one hell of a ride. It's when you reach the end of it and you reach your destination, it's incredible. It's incredible. So I would like to end here and say that it's a privilege to be standing here. It's a privilege to have got selected into a service where finally I get an opportunity to do something. Where finally I get an opportunity to make a change. I always wished that this change should happen or could have happened. So all this, and like the experience of the lady I told you, always remember how privileged we are and how much support we have, and always cherish it. And that will take you a long way. So I wish you all the very best, and thank you for hearing me out. Raj Singh sir, my dear colleagues, and my dear friends, it's an absolute privilege to be here. I want to thank MIT SOG, MIT CST for calling me here and giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with all of you.